Hello, fellow wanderers. I'm Endry, and thank you for joining me as we wander through a bit more of EQ Titan, a new player tutorial. In today's video, we're going to be going over setting up the client to be useful on EQ Titan. Now, to start, you're going to need to have downloaded the Live client, the Titanium client, and the Underfoot client. If you don't have those, go ahead and look at my last video where I went over acquiring software. Now, assuming you've got those, what you're going to want to do is create a new folder in your root directory, and preferably on a solid state drive, though it's not strictly necessary. And if you want to plan ahead, I would create a second folder as well for your low memory setups, kind of like I've got here, high memory and low memory. After that, go ahead and open up your Underfoot client. That should be a clean client at the moment. Copy its contents and paste it into the folder or folders, as your preference may be, and wait for that to finish. After that's done, you're going to have to transfer a few files from the Titanium client and the Live client. Now, fortunately, this has already been taken care of as far as a list goes by the EQ emulator community. So, you're going to go to a particular wiki site that I will link below, though you can also find a link to it inside the EQ Titan forums as well. It's going to show you the files you need to get for getting the client to work properly. In this top list of files, you're going to see the files you need to get specifically from Titanium. These are the older files that were removed on Live that you still need to run on our server. On the bottom here, you're going to see a list of files that can be acquired from Titanium, another client that we aren't currently using, or the Live client. I suggest for these bottom files, you just grab them all from the Live client. And as far as where you should store them, I would put them in a separate folder, just in case you need to get them later, in case you need to reinstall the clients for some reason. But after that, and you've got all of them copied over into that folder, and then copied over into the actual Underfoot directory, you'll be set up as far as getting the software to a working state. Nothing will crash when you try to zone. With one notable exception. Inside your folder or folders, go ahead and scroll down to the nectalos.eqg. And that particular file will load the new Nectalos that this server does not use. So go ahead and just rename the file and put .back at the end of it, or whatever you'd like. Just rename it to something other than nectalos.eqg. And that should take care of the actual files. Now, there's a couple other things you're going to need to do here to get into the game. So if we scroll up here, and we'll go find the EQ game.exe. So right now, if you try to open this, it's going to open a patcher. You don't really want that. So go ahead, right-click, go create shortcut, and it'll pop a shortcut up here. Right-click that, go to Properties, and then here at the end of it, you want to put Patch Me, one word, just at the end there. If your version of Windows requires you to put that in quotes, put it in quotes. I'm running Windows 10, so I just put Patch Me at the end of the shortcut. That will run EQ without loading the patcher. Kind of important. You don't want to be patching from the Live client if you've done all this work. Lastly, we're going to have to go down to EQ host here, open that up, and this is going to say something.sony.com. Go ahead and change that to login.eqemulator.net :5999. That will actually let you log into the EQ emulator server itself instead of trying to log into Live, which wouldn't end well for anyone involved, I'm sure. Now, at this point, if you've done all of that, you should have a working, and I'm going to call this an unmodified because we haven't modified it for saving memory or saving processor power yet, client for EverQuest. So we're going to go over character login here. So let's just open up eqgame.exe, the shortcut version. Hey, you actually get to see me playing the game for once. I know, strange, isn't it? So go ahead, log into your client here, whatever you named your EQ emulator login accounts. So in my case, I've got my Warrior account, and let's go ahead and type in the password here. Now, you're going to get to this Vote for EverQuest screen. This goes to a defunct link. go ahead and click Vote Now. Once you click Vote Now, this screen isn't going to pop up anymore. And just close out of this, it goes to nowhere. Now after that, you don't have to worry about that popping up anymore. If you keep clicking no, it's going to keep bothering you, and you have to do it for every single character. It's a UI change. Now you're going to get to server select here. There's a lot of options. Go ahead and scroll down to standard servers and kind of look through it until you find the one that says EQT, EQ Titan Legit. And then go ahead and click Play EverQuest. And now you get to sit with me through the wondrous loading times of the EverQuest client, which if you've got it on a SSD actually doesn't take that long at all. Trust me, as you load more clients, this will take longer and longer. So hey, character creation screen. So way back in video 1, we planned out sort of the characters you wanted to have. And this is where you're actually going to start creating them. And I suggest you do this one character at a time so you can get over all of the new character stuff that needs to be done. So go ahead, create a new character. For this particular character, I'm going to go with an Ixar. Let's go with a warrior. And I'm going to try and name him Endry, but let's see if I can actually get that one to work. Starting city doesn't really matter. We're going to be changing that later. You do want to have tutorial clicked because we are going to go through the tutorial area just a little bit, not a lot. Advanced, if you want to allocate your stat points, you can allocate your stat points. Trust me when I say the era we're at in EverQuest, it's not that important. And then we're going to go ahead and hit create character. Hey, it actually let me create Endry. Good. Now we're going to load into the Mines of Glooming Deep. For some of you who left EverQuest when I did back in Omens of War, this might be a new area for you, but don't worry. We're not really going to spend a whole lot of time in it, just long enough to get a charm, but that's for a little bit later in the video series. For the moment, we're just going to try and do some initial setup. So here you are. You've got a bunch of stuff on your screen. For the moment, go ahead and just kind of click out of all of that. First things first, go ahead here, go into Options, Disable Voice Chat. I doubt you're going to be using the integrated voice chat for EverQuest. Now I've got MQ2 running. You may or may not have it running at this point. It's strictly not necessary for what we're going to be doing here. So first thing, press Alt, hit O. That'll open up your options menu. Here, you can go to General Settings. I would suggest Auto Consent Group, Auto Consent Raid, Auto Consent Guild. Then we're going to go over to, and I've got some settings here, just sound volume, things like that. Sound volume, you probably want to turn off. Just trust me on this one, especially if you're running multiple clients from the same folder. It'll save you a lot of headache in the future. Display settings, you can show buff timers. This gets your settings in order. I'll be going over those in more detail in another video. But the big thing you want to do at this point, go to your keys, movement keys, and set these up how you want them to, because by their default, if you're used to playing with WASD, it's not going to work too well. You're going to start doing things you don't want to do. But mainly, get your keys set up here, so in the future you don't have to worry about it. Finally, the last big thing you want to do, well, the last big client thing you want to do is open up your alternate advancement window, which by default is the hotkey V. Go to Special, and you're going to see a bunch of them here that are actually white that you can actually learn. So you're going to go ahead, hit train, go ahead and train them. These aren't strictly necessary, but they do little bonus effects that are kind of useful with some fairly long cooldown timers on them. But you're going to want to get this done on all your characters. That way, later on, when you want to use them, they're there, and you don't have to go digging through and seeing who doesn't need them. Finally, before we log out of this character, we're going to do a slash. We're going to do set start space, and then we're going to do 344. And that's going to set your home city to the guild lobby, which will be important later. But mainly it's just in case you have to log out in a dangerous area because of some kind of emergency. When you log back into that character select screen, you can hit the go to home button, and that will log you into your home zone, in this case the guild lobby. After that, you're pretty much, well, you're mostly done. There is one more thing you can do. I'm going to check if there's anyone in the zone here. No. You might want to do this with the zone that you're in empty, in case you're paranoid. Press enter, put your pound sign or hashtag or whatever you want to call it, and you want to type in register, And here you want to put in the login for your account, your EQ Titan forum account, and then put your password for your account. And make sure that these are all lowercase. It really doesn't like it when there's any uppercase letters. When you're done, press enter, and it's going to register this account on EQ Titan. And this is going to be really important for a lot of things we do later. You need to do this on every single account you log in. And this is kind of why we're doing them one at a time. Now, when you're done with all of that, go ahead, do a /camp space desktop, press enter, and log out. And you do want to make sure that you log out through the camp option. That will save all of your UI settings, your window positions, and all those sorts of things. Otherwise, if you do a /exit or you just hit the X in the corner, it's going to just kind of, undo most of what you just did. Not everything, but all of your settings are going to be removed. And with that said, you need to do this for every single character you've got. And when you're done, we're going to move on to, in the next video, working with WinEQ2 and perhaps MacroQuest to kind of get your logins configured. But until then, have fun out there, everyone, and be safe.